Okay, guys, we are live. This is the second show of the day. I made a complete cock-a-hoop of the last one about 20 minutes ago. It was decent for the first half hour, but then it just went off air for some reason. Maybe the royal family didn't want us on live. I don't know, but we shall see. Jackie Boy is in the house at Anfield Road TV. Jack, how are you?
Not too bad, miss. Thank you very much for having me on. And as I said, the Gremlins are out to get you, lads.
The 80s Gremlins. I used to love that. That was actually a horror. Well, it was sort of a horror movie, stroke comedy, really, from the 80s, the Gremlins. But we should have been 3 or 4 minutes into the first half against Liverpool and Wolves. And here's the running commentary. What a ball in from Trent. What a header from Nunes. 1-0.
Dave and chat, it would have been, Liverpool for the 50 millionth time have conceded first in a Premier League game.
Scored. Just after seeing it. I was time traveling. We just scored. What a finish, though. What a finish from Nunes. But we should have been talking all day about and dreaming about Liverpool Wolves. The game is being called off. So is all Premier League EFL games are off, as we know. The Queen passed away. So, but there's other sports on. You might be able to tell me a bit more about that. I think cricket and rugby is on.
I think so. Yeah, proper Tory sport are on, like probably polo and all that. So there's no footy, which is mad. But don't get, I'm not going to get into the politics.
We don't talk about
football.
Yeah, we don't talk about politics or religion on this show. Yeah. That's my other
football.
Show. But look, we are where we are, Jack. I mean, midweek Napoli. I mean, to me, the performance itself was even worse than the United game. I mean, we really laid down. It was like, kids playing a football match in a schoolyard, and you've got the top class playing the babies coming into the school and like literally getting pissed on. That's what it looked like. It really was hands on hips type shit going on. No press, no desire, no energy. Said it earlier on. I mean, what was your take? I know you had a bit of a meltdown. So what's your meltdown of the game?
Yeah, there's a lot of things which we'll probably discuss today, mate. But it was just I was speaking to Owen from Klopp and the lads as well in his podcast yesterday, and I think we always come to the conclusion in terms of the attitude levels. It's something that we've not seen really from Liverpool, especially under Jurgen Klopp. Anyway, you're always a big characteristic of Jurgen Klopp in terms of his management and his teams. Most importantly, fundamentally, is they apply themselves in every single game. And we all seen, not just the Napoli game, mate, but is it a combination of tiredness, lack of squad depth? But fundamentally, if you're not going onto the football pitch and you're not at least tracking your runner or trying, Alisson, he's trying his best, but he's got nothing in front of him. But we all know the key culprits this season. And I don't know how you feel, Dave, or Chat as well. If we do get these players back, we've all been wanting the right reaction, but not necessarily everything's going to fall into place, is it? As much as we want it to see, but as long as if we can get the right attitude in games. But as we've said, and Jurgen Klopp, and we joked about it, the fact that we're conceding first in literally seems every single game, that stems from the attitude. And the 1 or 2 games where Liverpool have won and got the first goal, obviously the Bournemouth one, the intensity levels,
attitude was right.
Was
spot on. Listen, for me, Bournemouth's almost a write-off game because you were 2-0 down after 5.5 minutes. The crowd were up for it. We were up for it for those few minutes. And, Bournemouth are a poor side. Let's be real. They're probably going to get relegated. More than likely will get relegated, especially after that result. Even the Newcastle game, Jack, I mean, they were missing a few players. And we scored in the 98th fucking minute. I mean, that easily could have been a draw. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So I think that papered over cracks that win. That definitely papered over cracks,
Yeah, I think we all rode the crest of a wave, didn't we, at the beginning of the season in terms of obviously the great performance against Manchester City, and it probably kidded quite a lot of us in reality. But if we can capture that first 45 minutes and even the 45 minutes in the semi-final against City, we can reach these levels, and we've shown over the last couple of years. But I'm not a scholar law. I haven't got a degree in psychology or something, but there's a lot more people better well-adversed in that. But in terms of the psychological impact of last season,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I know Jurgen Klopp, and we spoke about this, Dave, and lads, and a lot of people on their podcast in terms of the parade was fantastic for the players, but in terms of psychologically, these players, it looks like they've been rattled at the beginning of this season. I don't know if it's a psychological point where they can't go again, or but it takes a lot out of them, doesn't it, mate? The fact that we've been so mad the last couple of years. For me, I look at it, and when you can't do nothing with the window now, but you just need that like one or two extra players just to give these players a helping hand in certain
The thing
games.
about it is, Jack, though, the problem I have with it is, it could go back to FSG here. We know Liverpool play high intensity. We know they play high energy. We know all this. Klopp knows this. Jurgen, Gegenpress. Everyone in the world knows the way Liverpool play and the way we have to play, especially in the midfield. The midfield has to work its arse off. Those three, whoever they are, have to work their arse off. And more than most have done it in the last 4 or 5 seasons, especially. And that's what I think has got us our success. It's the midfield, because the midfield lets everybody else play. It protects the back four. It protects Van Dijk or Matip or whoever's back there, and lets the other two boys bomb on, Trent and Robbo. Takes a lot of their defensive, job away with that midfield, covering them all over the bleeding shop. And then the front three, whoever they are, can do their stuff. But when your midfield is not working, and your press, your confidence, your energy has dropped off, not 10%, not 20%, probably 50%
Yeah.
It's hard to build. Stability, as North Red is saying here. It's hard even to get stability. It's hard to get control. We haven't controlled any game except maybe for the Bournemouth game, which we won 9-0. And that was probably controlled from 5 minutes. But any other game, Jack, we actually haven't controlled it. We've never controlled the game.
Yeah, and there's
That's worrying for me. That's my worry.
Yeah, no, also said stability and consistency in it, boys, as well, and everyone listening as well. It's that stems from the attitude, and it's weird. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and everyone's got great thoughts, and it's different the way they've analysed it. But I know the way, obviously, I done my post match with John and obviously Doug as well, and after the Napoli game, mate, and obviously we all seen Jurgen's BT interview, the first initial interview,
where I took it. Jack. He looks shocked to me.
Yeah, I was speaking to chat as well. He looks like a man, and we know Jurgen for he's a man of very few words, but when he does say words, they have a lot of meaning. He's a very intelligent man in terms of the way he goes about certain wording of sentences and everything. So whatever he says, obviously he's a manager that, as we know, he doesn't publicly out his players like we've seen certain managers over the last 15, 20 years internally. But there's only a certain amount of time where you can shout at these players, and Dave, like they're being told off. Obviously, Pep Linders was meant to be signing a book a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, they had an in-house backhaul and cancelled.
That looks like a mistake, doesn't it? That looks like a mistake.
And obviously, people are blaming Pep Linders releasing the book, and it's not.
I don't think it has anything to do with it, to be honest.
I
think that's just coincidence. That's just coincidence. Yeah. I see here, of course, it's saying, do you think we signed Tuchemani? We wouldn't be in this. Listen, if we would have signed any quality midfielder, it would have alleviated the problem and stress in the midfield. Would it have solved all the problems? I don't think so, Jack. I think there's a lot of problems there. There's also that Naby Keita issue that nobody seems to know what really is going on. The fact
that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's its own universe. That's its own little bubble. Whether that's affecting the squad or the togetherness of the squad, which Klopp knows he loves. He loves all that brotherly type love, togetherness.
Yeah.
And anybody that comes in to disrupt that is in trouble. Talk to Sacco all about that one.
Yeah. No, that's madness in itself, mate. And if that does rise to the forefront in terms of the press, will 100% pick up on it, especially if he's fully fit, mate. And lads and ladies as well. If he's fully fit and Jurgen Klopp saying he's injured, then internally that's seeped out onto the press, and quite clearly Naby's not being injured, and it's a case of someone's lying behind the scenes, obviously to protect the club, most importantly, as Jurgen says, but he's not. So it's accumulation, lads and ladies, in terms of City will probably win the league. The fact that we got Haaland, we spoke to obviously Keith and obviously Ivan there already this season when we spoke. He's going to be madness, but we've got to focus on ourselves. Do we need to readjust our expectations already 6-7 games into the season? Not yet, but if results that we've seen in recent weeks do continue and we get, say, 3-4 months into the season, and we're looking going, what are we doing here? And it's an accumulation of a lot of factors as well, and it makes. But yeah, as North said,
I think it's loads of things. It's not just one thing. It's loads. The 63 match season, Jack. If that didn't take anything out of you, I don't know what the hell would. 3 cup finals. Then some of the players who came back had to go. Like some Robbo had to go for World Cup qualifiers in the summer. Then you're going away to Hong Kong, Singapore, and the heat. I mean, a heat wave of a year everywhere this summer. I just think the energy, plus their ages, as we've already known, they haven't been. The midfield hasn't been rejuvenated the way we would have liked it by FSG or the owner. So I think it's a load of things. I think it could even be the last 3 or 4 years catching up on them. And that's where you needed 3 or 4 players brought in that weren't brought in. You know, it could have been something like that. But I mean, Klopp, that's what I'm saying. The staff are sort of the medical staff, the guys in the background that you don't even see or probably even know their names, know each player almost down to their bloody DNA. They know energy level drop off, Jack. They know they're going to be tired. They know all this. So I can see why fans are not happy about FSG saying, well, you knew they were going to be tired. You knew some players, there's been 5 players that are injury prone. Even if they come back fit now, there's no guarantee they're going to be fit for the next fucking 3 or 4 weeks because you could get something else. There's niggles all over the place. So in that way, I blame FSG for not investing in key areas when they knew in hindsight. We know from doing podcasts.
We've been doing it for the last. We've been doing it for the last couple of.
Put your hand up and go, well, you know.
Yeah, me and you have been doing videos for the best part of 3-4 years, mate, and we've said that Jurgen, and I done a video years ago, and that was before we got Allison, and obviously, and I said we need to back one of Liverpool's greatest ever managers, especially in my lifetime. He's been so short.
My lifetime too.
He's been and he's not a miracle worker, as we all know. And it will come up a pinpoint. It will come a moment within the season. Hopefully, it doesn't. But where massive questions will be getting asked of Jurgen Klopp, and he won't have the answers. And I watched that interview, Dave. Not how you felt, and everyone listening. I watched that interview, and as he said, it looks a bit defeated, and he looks lost, and that's
for the first time. Yeah, for the first time since he's took over. Okay, a bit of a rough 18 months, but you're going to have a rough 18 when you're changing players and you're changing staff and you're trying to find your rhythm and get going in the club. And from then on, say last 4 years, just been ridiculous. From 2018 season, we got beaten by Madrid. Even that year, though, we did a great season that year. The season before, we got beaten by Sevilla in the Europa League. But the last few weeks, even, Jack, he's been saying stuff in conferences I've never heard him press. Even mentioning FSG, I don't sign the checks and stuff like that. Little things, niggly, sort of unusual, worrying things coming out of Klopp's, like his, going on that you have to be worried about. I mean, I'm on about him.
Yeah.
As a manager, I'm talking about. Not that he's under pressure. I'm just saying, psychologically, like saying things like that, that's a bit unusual from him to say.
100%, mate. I spoke to you, mate, in chat as well on my shows. It was, why were the owners there a couple of weeks ago? Like, I don't understand why they were there. I get they're the owners and they can be there every single bloody week if they wanted. But there was a reason, and for whatever reason that is, hopefully we never find out, and hopefully Liverpool start winning games, and it will be quickly forgotten, as like a lot of things will be. But it's, unless there's been even if you're in any job in life anyway, if your manager turns up or your big boss, you're like, oh, something's happening here. There was a reason why, I thought, don't know, you felt Dave in chat, I thought, oh, right, Jurgen's had the hairs right at everyone at the club saying, I need money, I need funds to go out and get X, Y, and Z, a player or better quality caliber player. But at the end of the day, we just brought in Arthur on loan from Juventus on the last day of the season.
It seems to be a stopgap.
Yeah.
And I think he only came in, Jack, because of the Henderson issue. I think the only reason they pulled the trigger on that was the Henderson issue. When Henderson got injured 24 hours before and said, listen, we've got to bring somebody in here. Let's get him. Juventus don't even want him. Now, it could turn out to be one of these gem signings that actually works. And great if it does. Let's hope it does work. But I know what you're saying. There was no huge thought behind it. It was more of a going into a shop to buy something and you feel hungry and say, fuck, I'll get a chocolate bar or I'll get a Mars bar or something. You know what I mean? There's no thought behind it. And that's what worries me even bloody more, Yeah, of course, it's saying a top 4 and a new pot every cup to give me a day out in Wembley. I think people are trying to adjust their, look, I wouldn't be panicking just yet. Now, more problems to me is the bloody congestion. The congestion now after today's game being postponed. I don't know whether the Chelsea game next week has to be in London.
I think, I've got a couple of London mates, a couple of West Ham mates as well. I think obviously the funeral's in and around the time of the Chelsea game in it. So I'm guessing all the London fixtures or probably the Premier League as well. I know the European games are still on.
Are they? Is AJAX on the weekend, midweek?
Yeah, I think it's on Tuesday, yeah. So
right, we'll have a little chat about that now in a minute. What your lineup would be for that. Listen, we're under a bit of pressure now. We need the 3 point. I think you need to win your home games. In the Champions League, we've 3 home games. AJAX, we've got Rangers, of course.
I think they're on. Yeah, so apologies if they're not chat anyway, but I think it's on.
No, I didn't hear it was off. That's what I'm saying. It has to be on. I mean, we can't be, cancelling Champions League games as well. I mean, 2 league games get cancelled be bad enough for us because the bloody season is congested with the World Cup in the winter anyway. So that's the problem we're going to get. You know what I mean? Owners was there as a stop off to Milan, didn't invest in the group, 15% share in Milan last week.
Is it Redbird or something?
Something happened in Redbird Capital Investment or something they call it. Your man LeBron James, I think, is involved with them as well. Yeah, look, guys, we shall see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just hope we can get out of this muddle. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, Dave, sorry there, lad. I think I've seen something, I don't know how accurate it was. I think it's in an article this week. Was it Liverpool Forbes valuation? Liverpool valued at 4.5 billion.
Yeah, they were 4. Manchester behind United. We're just behind United.
Just behind United. And from a business sense, if we're talking business, which football teams are, and they always have been for the last 130 odd bloody years anyway, they've ran Liverpool excellently. But one of the fundamental factors of why the business is valued at such a high value, Jurgen Klopp, the current players and the Klopp players, obviously, they add up to the value of the football club. But to keep that value of the club and to be sustained and continue to win.
You got to be winning games, Jack. It's the name of the game is winning games. It's as simple as that. It's a results game. It's not even
for any business, you still need to invest, don't you?
Yeah.
You still need to invest to make more money.
Simple. Yeah. Look at Tuchel midweek. Look at Thomas Tuchel the midweek. I know there's always issues at Chelsea. We don't want to be at Chelsea, of course, with their board, they sack and go. Even the new board come in, they bleed and sack just as bad as Abramovich's. But I mean, just shows you it is a results game. You don't start well. I'm not saying Klopp's head's on the block. Absolutely not. I mean, he's gained respect from the board and the fans and everything to be like. I don't think anything would get him sacked. To be fair.
Oh, there would be if FSG. If they actually went down that road, there will be.
No, I can't see it, Jack. That's a bit
not saying
over the top.
No, I'm not saying that they wouldn't. Well, they would, but I mean in terms of the reaction from the fans, made from around the globe and everyone in Liverpool. Like they thought they had an arrogance of going into the Super League. Yeah. It wasn't just Liverpool's owners, but who's to say that arrogance does rise its head again, like they have in the last couple of years.
Or John W. Henry buys that in the shiny new yacht he's been talking about. LFC today. How are you, my friend? Hopefully you're well. Is he covering for the owners or do they share the same transfer policies? Do not overspend, create stars instead of buying them, work with small squads, etc. LFC today, this is exactly what the FSG policy is, and Klopp works with it because he is an FSG employee. You know what I mean? Isn't that it, Jack? So that he knows what the trick is when he signed his new contract extension till 2026. So, I mean, he knew he would want more Wonga. Of course, he wants more Benjamin Franklin's or whatever you want to call it. Or maybe the new Big Ears coin. He wants all that. But, I mean, we got to work with what we got now. The window doesn't open until bloody January. So we just got to work with what we got. And he knows. Klopp knows.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp was the perfect fit for FSG's model.
Yeah.
We all knew at his time at Mainz, he built a team, didn't have a lot of money to spend, stayed there for a couple of years. Then he went to Dortmund, similar, didn't have a lot of money to spend, developed the best young players in the league as well, sold them on for a profit. And yet again, and I've seen people say Jurgen Klopp and FSG, they are one, which they are. Jurgen Klopp's employed by Liverpool Football Club, so he's going to do whatever his bosses tell him. As much as that sometimes does grumble me, but all of them have still got to take a blame in every aspect, because Jurgen Klopp, if he wants a player, obviously he leaves it up to the strategy team in terms of the recruitment, but if Jurgen Klopp wants a player, and he's got to listen to I remember years ago, we didn't really want Mohamed Salah. He wanted Julian Brandt before his move to Dortmund anyway. So, and Salah was like the third or fourth choice in that list. So I think Jurgen's got to take some blame, but it's a massive, massive couple of months for Liverpool Football Club this season.
Yeah, huge.
Because from a business,
couple of weeks, Jack. Never mind months. Got to get it right in the next few weeks, not months.
Yeah,
got to get it right. You know.
Especially if we do miss out on top four as well, from a financial sense
that would be an absolute disaster. You've got to be in the Champions League. You've got to be in the Champions League. Simple as. Arthur's no Ben Davies. He's a Brazilian international. They will get a tune out of him. I'm not saying he isn't any good. I'm just saying he was a stopgap signing. He wasn't the player that was at the top of the list. He was near the bottom of the list. He could turn out, as Jack said, Salah was probably at the bottom of the list, halfway through the list. He could turn out to be absolutely brilliant. He's pedigree. Juve 2 seasons, Barca 2 seasons, 22 caps for Brazil. Absolutely. Do I want it to work? Yes. Will it work? Time will tell. LJ says, hi, all things have a cyclical tendency. So with trophies, there will be dark days too, but we will get back on top very soon. I trust Klopp. I've been talking about cyclical, ups and downs, roundabouts for the last 4 or 5 seasons, telling people to enjoy what you've got right now, because it won't last forever. But you've got to build. You've got to stay strong, because everybody else around you is doing exactly that. Buying, staying strong, reinforcing. You've got Spurs there. You've Arsenal there. You've United there. Obviously City are going to be right up there. And then you've even Chelsea now, after sacking the new manager, bringing in Harry Potter himself, the magical Harry Potter. Will he do a bit of a wizardry act on Chelsea? Probably make them harder to win, to beat.
And their owners as well, Dave and chat, didn't even know how many players were on a football pitch. If you want to leave, their owner was like, "Oh, play this formation," and Tuchel was like, "No, we want to play this rule," because apparently Ted Bowley, or whatever his name is, not bothered, but he wanted Tuchel to play
15 players like a rugby.
Yeah, he wanted to play 4-3-3 or something, some mad formation, and Tuchel was like, reportedly, I think it was a couple of articles over the last couple of days, he was very angry, and he's had a massive falling out anyway. So, he hasn't got a clue, that Ted Bowley. He hasn't got a clue.
We're going to switch for the last 10-15 minutes, and we're going to talk about the AJAX game. Let's hope it goes ahead midweek, of course, at Anfield. We lost the game last week 4-1, so we are in big-time need of a win. Got to win your home games. You want to get out of the group. And AJAX won't be easy, because he beat Rangers 4-0. So we'll talk about what we'll do, Jack, who we'll bring in and stuff like that, and what way we'll play. I'd love it to go ahead. I think it could be huge midweek under the lights at Anfield. LFC Tres going 4-2-3-1. Alisson, a lot of talk about that 4-2-3-1 formation, maybe to suit
we need to change something, don't we, mate? Like,
we need to refresh. Klopp's talking about the reinvent, as we seen in the press conference, but definitely refresh. And he's going Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez. Wow, he's keeping Gomez in. Fab, Thiago, holding in the middle with Carvalho, number 10, behind Diaz, and 2 lads out in the wing. I presume you mean maybe Salah
and Diaz,
we need to tighten up on the right side. We absolutely do. The only thing about that team, I would go similar team, not exactly. I would go Alisson, I would go Tsimikas, I would go Van Dijk, I would go Matip, I would go Trent, because I think we just got to play. We don't really have cover for him. I would go Fabinho and Thiago and Elliott. I think Elliott didn't really put a foot wrong all season so far. You could say he needs a rest as well, but I think he's young enough. He's only 20. And up front, I would go Diaz, I would go Jota, and Núñez through the middle. I mean, I'd have Salah on the bench. I really would. Salah looks devoid of ideas too. Bring him on
Yeah,
last 20, 25.
yeah, I'd agree with you there, Dave, as well. And obviously, what else he say today? He said, "Jack, get your starting 11s in for
Start 11 for the Ajax
the
game
Ajax
and
game." Yeah.
scorelines.
Some of those players, but at the end of the day, mate, there's no hiding place at Anfield, especially if Trent was to have another shocker. Like, mate, like there's no defending him. I said on my post-match track, and I can't defend him no more in terms of the defensive side of his game. He's an absolute shambles, and he needs to wear. I know he's still only 23, but at the top elite level, where Liverpool have dropped points over the last couple of years or certain games, it stems into the midfield as well. Trent needs support in those midfield areas, but that's all no show for another day. But yeah, I'd like to see Gomez right back, as obviously as LFC today said, a bit more defensive, but we need a bit more structure and a bit more defensive cohesive unit. Not to get started on, obviously Gomez had an absolute shocker as well. Let's not forget that. But I think I'd like to see it, but yeah, as we said, Trent is in the red zone, and a lot of those players are. Similar with Robbo, a lot of these players have played the best part of the last 4 seasons, every single game in the year. So, not making excuses for them, but sounds like I am. But ideally,
it sounds like
ideally that stems into FSG and not having enough adequate squad depth. And I don't know what the hell our medical team are doing this year. Don't get me started, but whatever's happened. But just change it up. We need to freshen something up, change something.
What do you think of LFC's today's? I want to read that one out if you want. I presume he means the model, maybe all romantic, etc. But we need to get with the times. Klopp needs to accept we have to spend the challenge, and his undoubted loyalty to injured players is costing us.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are saying, why did Milner start the other night? Why did Fabinho start the other night? I mean, you had the likes of Nunes. You know, you had players on the bench. I mean, if Thiago's on the bench, there's a chance he could start. Okay, he could come on and get injured. People start saying, why did you start him? He's been out so long. So, I mean, you have a double whammy there. You know, I really would have thought he'd Matip in, though. I thought he would have had Matip and Van Dijk in.
Yeah,
Matip
100%.
makes Van Dijk. He calms him down. I mean, even Van Dijk's in the last few weeks hasn't been Van Dijk, basically, has he? Hasn't been Van Dijk, you know.
Yeah, no, but I'd agree with today's comments. His loyalty has impacted him massively, and I think his loyalty to Ox, to Adigi, certain players that he's let go, we've sold ourselves short in terms of potential. I know Minamino and Adigi's contract, as we know, ran out, but we haven't really replaced them. I know he didn't get a lot of game time, but when you peel back the layers of Liverpool's quality, when say the injuries we have had this season, even was it a couple of weeks ago when it was games against Palace and certain other games, even against Everton, we've not got adequate, proper quality to come off the bench. I don't mean like elite level, but at least have some better quality than we've had in recent weeks.
We shouldn't have elite. Jack, we're Liverpool.
Yeah.
We should have elite level. We shouldn't be
scrounging around for
we'll take anything. We should have elite level. That's who we are. I mean, we're up there in the Champions League. We've been in 3 Champions League finals the past 5 seasons. You know what I mean? We won 2 cups last year. Could have won 3. Played 63 games. We are elite level. That's as simple as that. And we should be acting like elite level.
Yeah. And it's not always accepting that we're happy with second. All of us always want to see Liverpool winning every single game. And I want to see all of us, we can all agree, we want to see Jurgen Klopp with the best possible opportunity of winning trophies with Liverpool Football Club. Even, as you said, made the finals we've had in recent times, just better quality. But it's a massive 12 months in terms of on the field, but obviously off the field as well. Because a lot of those players in the midfield, most importantly, we know the names will be getting replaced. Well, we hope they will. The ones that will be leaving the end of the contract as well.
Well, we hope, as you said. And Dicko, there's nothing being said about the Ajax game, so I would presume it's still going ahead, wouldn't it? I mean, if they don't say anything about it with Ajax fans flying in and stuff, they'd have to say something quick if it was being called off. I didn't hear any of the European games being called off, so that could be the next big one, and that is a big one, Jack, because God forbid we lose that, we're in deep shit getting out of this group, because, I mean, Ajax away won't be easy, so we got to win that. We got to get a result. And I believe we will. I believe we'll turn up and we'll react. Worrying how easy it is to top literally walk through us. You can work on that, I'm not sure. Well, yes, but as I said to you before, it's with the press, it's with the energy in midfield. If you've no press or energy, no Gengen press, you've no team, you've no engine, you've no bearing on your clutch, you have nothing. We need to get the midfield right. And Thiago was absolutely huge to our system last year and will be this season. And we have him back, hopefully, for a while.
And even when he come on, Dave and chat, we watched that game in the second half. As soon as Thiago and Arthur come on, we seemed a bit more under control as well. It's in terms of, what was it? And even Robbo's comments as well. I think we know Robbo to be a leader in men, really, as well for Scotland. And he is one of those characters that will say his mind. He's not afraid to. Because he's worked his bloody backside off. We know his journey. He's been in the lower leagues of Scotland, Championship, and got a place at Liverpool. He knows his place. Yeah, so... And even he said he was the first person from Liverpool after the Napoli game to see what his reaction was. He was first, obviously, before Jurgen Klopp in his interview as well. And he said himself, he said, my teammates or my mates, you need mates to back it up in certain moments. And he didn't say names, but he more or less outed a couple of them, saying they weren't pressing, they weren't helping the other teammates that were trying to at least press, because it's very disjointed. We all seen that last night against Napoli and over the last couple of weeks. It's all half-assed with one or two players, and then we seen that back line against Napoli, very disjointed. Like Christ, it was like Sunday League a back line. It wasn't
even as bad as Sunday League. You're giving Sunday League a bad name. It was like a game. Look. As I said, it was like kids in a schoolyard, and one of the senior classes playing against the junior class, and they're just basically pissing on them for fun, and they're putting their hands on their hips, and it just looked bad. It looked bad, and it was a big game, Champions League. The world was watching. Excuse me, more. But look, for me, as Alex from Anfield Lark is saying, enjoy your show, lads. Even if it's not quite the positivity we've all enjoyed over the last few years. Look, we've had one hell of a ride on the Anfield Express, Jack. I mean, it's been dreamland. I came in right at the tail end. I came right in 2018 doing these shows when Liverpool were just about to take off in a crescendo. And I'm hoping it's not over just yet. I think we're okay. I think got to get our players back, which are coming back. We got to get that midfield sorted. Maybe he's going to reinvent and do something. But when you reinvent, you usually have a transition of a few months or a season, and it takes that long to get it right. Do you know what I mean? Maybe even half a season. And by the time you to get it right, you're already too far behind, and you're not in contention for any of the things that we want to be in contention for. So I think we just got to dig deep, get going. There's key players there that have to step up. There's key players in the spine that have to step up who have dropped levels. The likes of Van Dijk, the likes of Fabinho, Thiago, when he's back now, hopefully he'll stay fit for a while. He's very important to us. And Mo Salah up front. These guys are on the big wages. I'm not giving out. I'm very rarely negative, as you know, do my shows for 4 or 5 years. But I'm just being critical of the top players and FSG, to be fair, for not putting their money in their pocket. And they've got to get it right. Reinvent, whatever you want to call it. But if we do play Tuesday against AJAX at Anfield, it's a must-win already for us. That's an absolute must-win. And it's a must-win. The result matters, Jack. The performance doesn't really matter. It's all about results. Although you could say results matter. You get a 2-1 98-minute win against Newcastle, but that's really, the performance wasn't fantastic. It papered over a lot of cracks. So you really want a performance and a win, which is great. But and if you get a performance at the home ground, it just exudes through the whole bloody squad. You know what I mean? If you get the performance, which we thought we would have got from the Bournemouth 9-0, but it was Bournemouth, unfortunately, at the end of the day.
Yeah, so there's no hiding place for them in Champions League as well, especially if we are at home. The crowd and everyone watching, everyone around the world as well, will be getting behind the lads as well. So, and it's our competition, and I think it will help. It's a bit of respite. We can regroup, hopefully. And I think it was one of the lads' comments to come up here. I think a massive point. I think someone's included Canate. I think he was massive. Like the injury to him, I was in that Strasbourg game, and
what a joke!
As soon as he went down, I was like, he's done. He's done for a couple of weeks, couple of months. I was like, oh my God. We all seen him last year. He was a man possessed against Real Madrid. That was probably one of my favourite individual performances I've seen from Liverpool play in recent seasons, because the lads, he become a man against Real Madrid. He was martial, he was bullying, Vinny Jr. was bullying Benzema, and yes,
big enough
one
lad to
time,
do a bit of bullying,
yeah,
isn't he? He's a big fella now.
And even when was it last year against Man United away when he's just shoving all the Man United players away, just laughing
With
in the faces.
Fernandez or Mark Fred, was it, or Mark Tominey? One of these.
That's it's a bit of that attitude, a bit of confidence, a bit of arrogance, a bit of strength in the team. Yeah, I think we've been a bit too soft in recent weeks in terms of just letting teams walk all over us. But hopefully that does change, and it stems from, even if it's a tackle early on in the game, like just get something on the crowd on song really, and just take it to them really.
Seen here at LFC today, Ajax are a young team that have balls of steel. We give them a goal lead, and we'll be in for it. Yeah, we'll be a long night because they can pass the ball around. We give them too much confidence, but I think a noisy Anfield could win it for us. Yeah, I think the crowd's got to be huge. The crowd is going to be huge. It's got to drag the players out of their sleepy slumber. And Dicko Milner should be dragged off after 10 minutes. Penalty and a yellow. I was worried about the yellow as well, even nearly more than the penalty, because I was saying he's going to get sent off. He was diving in. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm just thankful we've at least, even when Liverpool are playing bad, and don't get me wrong, Milner didn't have the best game, but he's not scared. And there's that pin to something internally, that fact that Milner was screaming. Was it the Fulham game, the opening day of the season? Milner's not scared to tell a play. He's been there.
Was he not screaming at Van Dijk?
Yeah, publicly, and the cameras were on him. So he's like, right, you get your act together, son. And I tell you what, if we didn't have at least Milner, or obviously Hendo's out injured, whatever people think about Henderson, but both of those two do offer on a football pitch is leadership and organisation. And if we didn't have Milner on the pitch against Napoli, yes, he was probably one of the worst players on the pitch, but at least it could have literally been about 10-12-0 if Milner wasn't on the pitch.
Yeah, look, you need leaders on the pitch, on and off the pitch. We do usually have them, as you said, Van Dijk. I mean, we've Henderson, club captain, we've Milner there, experience there. That's what you need. Alisson, but it was lacking against Napoli, to say the least. I mean, Milner will be retired next summer. Hendo's 33, Thiago's 32, Ox, Naby, and Bobby possibly gone on freeze because they only have a year left in their contracts. I'm worried, lads, not going to lie about our future. The next window will tell a lot. I think the next two windows, January and next summer, are huge for us, especially in midfield, as we know. Rejuvenation, reinvention, just basically more talent, fresh talent in the midfield. This is my reinvention, says Anfield Larkin. He's picked the team here. Presumably it's for the Ajax game. Let's have a look at this.
I think overall picture. I think
it's an overall, his reinvention. So you've Alisson, Trent, Kanate. This is his players, obviously. Look, there's a lot of players there. Alisson, Trent, Kanate, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Fabinho, Thiago, Elliott, Carvalho, Nunes, Diaz, Matip, Gomez, Robbo, Hendo, Arthur, Jota, and Salah. That's his new reinvention of his squad, I presume he thought. He'd love to throw Jude Bellingham in there, wouldn't he, as well? But I mean, look, I just think we don't panic. Panic is the wrong thing to do. Panic never helps anyway in any situation. Certainly not on a football pitch or and I'm sure Klopp, Pep Linders, Peter Krawietz, whoever you want to throw in there, certainly will not panic, Jack. That's not in there. It's not in their DNA, is it?
No, and I think what panic, if it did set in, we all see that. We all see in that window for a lot of teams. Yes, Liverpool didn't spend money, but if Liverpool was spending money in that market, and we've seen it with United getting Maguire for 80, 90 odd million, was a Kepa for 80 odd million, the silly prices that we're getting branded around. And yes, we will need to go into that market, but we need to go on with the market with the mindset of when we got Jota, 35, 40 odd million. Kanate, we waited, paid a bit of money as well. So we spend money in the right areas. That's the most important thing, and that's what all of us want. But I think we don't want another Andy Carroll where we're going out spending 60, 70 odd million. And I think I've seen people criticising Nunes, and the lad's literally played not a lot of minutes. What has he played? 2.5 games or 3 games? I know he's suspended for 3 of them.
I think it's 3.6 games. Something like stupid like that. 3.5 games. Look,
until Nunes has a whole season under his belt, and
look, you'll have the haters, you'll have the ones that don't want him to succeed, talking crap on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. He needs time. He needs to get a few goals. He needs to fit into the system. He's a young lad. It's his biggest move he's probably ever going to make. Who knows? Huge move from Benfica. Benfica, a big club in Portugal, but they're not Liverpool. Let's be real. Before that, he was playing for Almeria, wasn't it, in the second division in Spain? and before that he was in Uruguay. So huge moves, and I'll give him time. It was silly what he did against Palace, getting the 3-match ban. Absolutely silly. He's got to be bigger than that. Hopefully he's learned, but I think he'll come good. I see Exhibit is in the house here. What do you think about the reason Man U lost? Is it the same problem Liverpool have? No. United nearly have a bigger squad than bleeding Liverpool. And I think the FSG or the Glazers have put a lot of money into, this isn't the United chat, but they put a lot of money in. They put their money where their mouth is. So the yellow and green gold flags or green and gold flags can be put away for another season, Jack.
Yeah, no, I think we're United, mate, Exhibit. Thank you for your comment, mate. It's a case of just getting some of those players. McTominay, Christ, we joke about it. He's not Man United level. There's a couple of players in there you can see, understands. And that's probably why a lot of panic has set in relation to certain Liverpool fans, and quite rightly, because we don't want to see Man United back to winning ways. But I think if Ten Hag, the way he's going about it, as he said in his Sky post-match a couple weeks ago, there will be bumps in the road, but I think United they've actually got the right man, and it's just going to be a matter of time. Just to give it, but I think it will be a bit more quicker. But as I say, not every team, even Real Madrid's, the great Real Madrid's and the great Barca teams as well of old, and the Liverpools, they did get beat now and again. So, but I think what Man United are building will eventually become good. I think it's getting the right players, and I think with United, they're never going to be short of money. With the club, so I think it's Ten Hag. Sadly, they've got the right man, but I think it's only a matter of time when the penny does eventually drop for Ten Hag. So
people are putting in their teams, obviously, for the AJAX game midweek, Champions League game week 2. It's a must win for us. We just got to win it. We got to win that game. No holes barred. We just got to do it. Anfield Lark is trying to put in his team as well. He said something about it doesn't allow spaces in the chat. Probably only lets you put in a certain amount on the message. Does it, Jack? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, Alex. Yeah, I think it's just a matter. A bit like Twitter, but yeah.
Want us to play a 4-2-2-2. Thiago, Fabinho, then Carvalho and Elliott, and Diaz and Nunes up front. Like a 4-2-2-2.
Who was it that... What? Speaking of who was it that for United? The other fellow that left... Is it the Austrian coach? Is it?
Yeah.
Or the
Austrian.
That's his. Yeah, that's his classic formation. But yeah, we need to change something up. Hopefully.
LFC today. Modric said he's leaving Madrid at the end of the season. They will be in for Bellingham 100%. If he was good at World Cup along with Casado, price will go up and has already made an excuse for F. That would be a big excuse for FSG. My worry is Madrid have their eyes on Bellingham, and to be fair, Jack, I think if they want Bellingham,
they'll get him.
They put all there. I think they get him.
Yeah,
I think it's up to the player himself. Obviously, if he wants to come to Liverpool rather than Madrid, he comes to Liverpool. But if it's just clearly money, or it's clearly I want to go here, I want to go there, I think he goes to Madrid. I can't believe some of the Liverpool fan base guaranteeing that he's coming unless there's some sort of gentleman agreement we don't know about.
Yeah. Unless he's. I think we're like certain players. When Joe and Harvey Elliott, he's like, it's quite public knowledge before he moved to Liverpool that he was a massive Liverpool fan.
Carvalho
as well. So yeah, it's the thing. And even if we'll come at the end of May, we'll find out how good or bad we played this year. Could have won the league, hopefully, but
it's important to be in the Champions League next year.
Yeah,
if you're going to have a big season of a transfer season where you want to sign top international Champions League level players next season, which we do, I think you've got to be in the bloody thing next season. Similar to problems United had trying to sign 1 or 2 players this summer. There was a problem with the young fact that they weren't in the Champions League, they're in the Europa League. It makes a big difference, Jack. Huge.
Yeah, 100%. And paying that extra premium on players with Anthony, I think it's been to a couple of Man United mates as well. They said they could have got Anthony for 50, 60 million, but he ended up paying an extra 20, 30 million top of the price as well. And big up Gary as well.
I think it's huge. The fact that we didn't play, what are we, 2-0 up at half time against Wolves? But I mean, the fact that we didn't play, it's half time at Anfield. But I mean, the fact we didn't play the game today, obviously, I would have gave the lads a day off today. I think that was the plan. I'd give them the Saturday off because they're meant to be at the game day. I'd give them the day off with their family today and say, right, back in Sunday, rock and roll, midweek, AJAX, got to get a win here. There's a chance the Chelsea game won't go ahead the following weekend, which will give them a gap. And I think give a Champions League game the following week. So
yeah,
You've got to get this Ajax, got to get his players. Thiago, I don't know what team he's going to pick. I know what team I'd like him to pick.
Yeah.
Just got to win it, Jack. Got to win Tuesday.
Yeah. Spot on, Dave in chat as well. I'm hoping Klopp has given him a couple of days off just so they can just relax.
I wouldn't say a couple of days. I'd say it'd be just today. I'd say it'd be Saturday. The game's Tuesday. He'll want them back Sunday, kicking the ball around and ready to rock.
Yeah. No, but I think even we haven't had... When did we last play? When did we last play? Was it last week we last played?
What?
Yeah. When did we last play? Obviously the Napoli game. So yeah, they've had it since the Napoli game.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously the announcements that we've had over the last 48 hours. So I mean, I'm hoping Klopp giving them a couple of days just for them. Most importantly, if Klopp's told them something in Napoli, he would have went off on them on the Napoli changing rooms, and he's let that just stew. Joe, when you've got time to think about your own decisions, just in life in general, anyway.
No,
but,
I think
it will help massively.
I think he would have just gave them today because considering we only found out late yesterday the bloody games were off. So in their minds, the game were still on and they were ready to rock 24 hours later. Then he turned around and probably said, listen, lads, the game is meant to be on tomorrow. Take the day off. I'll see you Sunday. Big game Tuesday. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's win.
Yeah, 100%.
LFC today is saying Philip Dagan is Bellingham's agent. That's why people think it's a done deal. But if we finish fifth and they don't do business in January, would you blame him going to Madrid? That's what I'm saying. You've got to be in the champion. You've got to be elite level. If you want an elite player, you've got to be an elite team. Simple.
Yeah, that's a good stat. That today, is he? I don't even have no Philip Dagan. Bloody hell. That's a name for the that's a name for the history books, isn't it? Remember the Christ.
Well, that's it. Yeah, there's a few ex-players like they do be agents, and sometimes that can help. Obviously, having a Liverpool connection and stuff like that, it can help.
Yeah.
You know, that's usually the way it is. But Jack, I'll do another show before the AJAX game, maybe tomorrow or Monday. But we'll leave it there. We're 47 minutes in. Thank you very much for Jack at the Anfield Road TV. Check out the Anfield Road TV on Twitter,
Thank you very much,
YouTube,
mate.
Instagram. He's on Twitch. He does gaming. He does absolutely everything.
Yeah,
Have you any shows up and coming to tell people, Jack?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get Dave on, possibly tomorrow. I'm out partying tonight, so I might need a couple of hours to recover.
Go easy on the old one too, baby.
Yeah, but nice one, Dave, for having me on. Most importantly, everyone listening or watching on the repeat, have a lovely rest of your weekend. Enjoy it. Look after yourselves, and as we said, bring on the Reds. We'll be back to winning ways. Just this period that we do find ourselves in with the players.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we all good.
We'll be okay. You never walk alone. Thanks for all the comments, guys. You guys make the comments, really. Without comments, it's just me and Jack talking like we would in a bar or in a pub or whatever. The comments make it interesting. Keep it going. Hit the like, hit the share. Check out the Anfield Road TV. We'll be back. Let's get the win against Ajax on Tuesday. We will need it. And at halftime, it's 2-0 to Liverpool against Wolves in an imaginary game, which would have went ahead, didn't go ahead. It's been beautiful. It's been real. Stay safe. LFC today. Gary Richards, North Red, Alex Anfield Arc. There's been loads of people in. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Talk soon. This means more. Cheers.